right, so it's January 18th, 2019. Mom and Dad are going to talk about Portland to Nome.
And where are we, Todd?
Where are you now? You're right here in Telephone, Texas. This is
And
the
our
home of
farm,
And
yeah.
Haggard Oaks.
Anyway, we were after my senior year, I was accepted in the U.S. Public Health Service for to be able to serve the 2 years obligation that we had. Otherwise,
Military.
military obligation. Otherwise, you can get drafted right out of your practice wherever you go. The military can draft you back in my day, and so we chose to join the U.S. Public Health Service because they don't serve on the front lines, and the families get to go with them, and plus you're going in as an officer. You start right out with an officer, and your pay includes the 4 years of dental school, so that you come in with a fairly good salary as an officer. And I remember giving her first choice as to where she wanted to go, and I think you remember
Yes.
Hawaii, Florida.
It was Florida first. Well, the reason why is that that's where my folks lived, was in Virginia. They were on the East Coast. And so I wanted to go someplace, if possible, that would be close to them.
Because we've been gone from them for 4 years in dental school.
We had not seen them in 4 years. Nobody.
They hadn't
Nobody.
seen you, Todd. We haven't seen you. They haven't seen Chad. Either one.
In all that time. And so anyway, I said, hey, I'll take Florida because it's close to Virginia. And he said, okay. And so he put that down as his first choice. But then he put down Alaska, because he's always talked about, he'd love to go to Alaska. He'd love to go fishing in Alaska. I mean, he talked about it a lot before it ever happened. Going hunting and stuff like that. So anyway,
it came back, Nome, Alaska, and we were just very concerned because it's so far and so cold out there. And we found out who was there already, and we still have the tape he sent. It was the disc, wasn't it?
Yes.
Or was it a tape?
It was a disc.
And he sent that to us and gave us all the information of what it was like and the homes. There was about 5 homes there in Nome, owned by the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs is what owned it. And the U.S. Public Health Service takes care of the Alaskan Natives, all of the Indians and the Indian reservations, the U.S. Coast Guard, and all of the Merchant Marines, which is a lot. And so there's a lot of places you could get stationed, but it mainly is nurses and doctors and dentists and engineers. Yeah, that's the only ones that get accepted into the U.S. Public Health Service. So we chose Nome. We had we could have driven our own car, but we knew that we couldn't get it to Nome. There are no roads from Fairbanks to Nome, or from
Seattle area or any place like that.
Or what's the big city there?
Fairbanks.
Yeah.
Juneau.
Anchorage. Yeah, in Anchorage, there are no roads that go all the way to Nome. They do have dog teams that'll go, but anyway, we wanted a car. We knew they had cars in Nome, and so we purchased one. It was a Rambler, a Nash Rambler, and had it delivered by boat to Nome.
It was a 1963 wine Rambler.
Yeah, red.
The Rambler was part of
AMC. Isn't that American Motor Company?
American Motors, yeah. Anyway, we arranged with the Ford dealership in Fairbanks, Alaska, to drive a brand new car for them all the way up. And they paid everything, the gas and everything, and it was a Mercury, a nice one. And so you, Todd, and Chad, and
we was expecting Daphne.
We were expecting our 3rd child, and we got in the car, and at that time we were in that Mercury. and we went the Alcan Highway all the way, all the way. We'd camp out so many times along the road. There had campsites, you know, and I remember one time we were camping, and I felt somebody crossing over my legs, and I thought it was Mom, and so it was cold and rainy, and so I opened up, and there was a bear on my feet that had come into the camp, and it was some of those bears get used to robbing the campsites at night, and so anyway, it chased off. When it saw me, it ran off, and so I snuck out of the sleeping bags, went over and knocked on the car door windows, and you and Chad were asleep, and so was Mom inside the car. And I said, "Get the camera, get the camera," and so you did. And so
Where have you heard that phrase before?
we have pictures of that bear in that campsite, and I was within from here to the camera right here. Sometimes of that bear, I could sneak up behind trees and things and take video, and I had video at that time, and so one of our earliest videos is on that trip, anyway, we went on in. You know, it was interesting. Sometimes the big trucks would come by heading south and throw rocks, and so we had a broken window by the time we got there, but they understood that would happen.
Well, they told us, yeah, just expected that the windows will be broken by the time you get there.
No paved roads.
No
This is
paved
all dirt road, gravel.
Now that's a long time ago, but
Yeah.
surely they're better now, I would think.
Anyway, we came into Alaska, and it was very interesting when we arrived in Fairbanks. This was in July, and we couldn't believe that it was still light at midnight. I mean, literally. So you really didn't have to have your headlights on, but you did. The sun goes down at about 11:30 at night, and comes up at about 1:30 in the morning. So it's mainly dusk and dawn all in one full swoop as the sun goes down below the horizon a little bit, and up it goes. And then when it comes up, it goes around and around and around. It's all day, all night, all evening, and then dips down. That's the way it is in Fairbanks and in Nome. We got used to that. So we could take pictures at high noon, and the sun would just be barely above the trees, because it was still daytime and still running high noon. It just didn't get very high, because that's the way the sun was in the summertime. In the winter, it was just exactly opposite. Yeah, the sun would go down at about 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It would go down, and it would stay down. And I mean, it would stay down and stay down and stay down, and it didn't come up until about, golly, what time would that come up?
Well, it was more in the morning, midday. It was more midday.
Yeah, about 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 11:30. It would come up, and at high noon, it would just be through the trees. And then back down it would go. And so we had to buy black shades, just like these shades here that you see, you pull down, and they were pure black. And we would tape them to the sides of the windows during the summertime, because it never got dark enough. And so and plus the Eskimo kids, they didn't go to sleep, and so we couldn't get you guys to go to sleep either, because it was still daylight. And so we were used to Portland, Oregon time zone. Anyway, we were in one of those homes. It had we had running water because we had a pump, a water storage tank just outside, and it would put pressure into our pipe system that way, individual, just for our home. And
each home had that.
Yeah.
Each home had a great big water storage.
And it was delivered by a water truck, it's called. And we also had the honey bucket service, which was, the commode was a trap door from the outside that they could reach in and grab the honey bucket and dump it into a special truck.
Sewer truck.
Yeah, a sewer truck, and it would also wash out, and then you'd put it back in. One of the jokes that we saw in the Nome Nugget, which was the newspaper,
Well, there
it
were
said,
actually 2 doors, honey. 2 doors on the outside. 2 doors. And you'd open the first one, and then you'd open the next one, and then you could see the bucket, honey bucket in there, and so that would quickly be taken out. And I was always worried because I was pregnant at that time, and you never know, when you have to go to the bathroom. And so
you had to listen carefully
I had to
when
listen.
the honey bucket would come.
You could hear the truck even coming, and of course you'd hear the door being open. But I remember this one time, like he said, in the Nome Nugget, it said, it showed the honey bucket door, and Santa Claus was out here looking in. He had started to open the door, and it said, "Oh, no, Santa, not that door. Don't go through that way."
Anyway, it was cute. They had one radio station, KICY, and it was run by the Swedish Covenant Church, and they were quite influential there. They were good.
There were like 7 churches to about 7 bars. Same thing.
Yeah.
A lot of bars.
And the homes were built on stilts, what I call stilts. The great big beams that are pounded down into 4 or 5 feet down into the permafrost. When you get past 3 feet, you're into permanently frozen ground.
And never thaws out.
They get those big beams down into those by a great big machine that pounds them down, and then they build the house on that.
We didn't have a sewer system, nor did we have a water system. The water was delivered to us, and when we would wash our dishes or wash clothes or take a shower or something like that, all of that water was put underneath your house, just opened up, open pipes and everything, and that water would go onto that underneath your house, and then it would build up to where almost the ice was touching the floor of your house. But in the summertime, it would melt away and became really smelly and really muddy.
The whole city was that way.
It was everywhere like that.
Now they wouldn't. The honey bucket surface kept the sewer, the bad sewer, away.
In a container, and then it was dumped.
But dishwashers or wash machines or sinks or baths, all of that went under the house.
But now that was 60 some years ago, but now they have a actual steam system that has pipes that have steam in them that they put down so far into the permafrost, and that melts, keeps the pipes, warm, and they don't freeze.
The steam goes through a big pipe, and then inside is another pipe that takes care of the water. And that way they keep it from freezing that way. Because of the steam, it's a heated system, and it was very expensive to put in.
But we had one bathroom, 2 bedrooms downstairs, and then there were 2. Oh, he's leaving, honey. All right, thank you. Anyway, there was 2 rooms upstairs and 2 bedrooms downstairs, and a kitchen and kind of a little living room, but good, a nice, it had all the.
We ordered our food from Seattle, and it would be coming on the boat, and they would bring it in with barges into Nome, and we would get it just once a year. We would get all of our groceries. And
if we ordered them that way.
They did have grocery stores there, but the prices were extremely high and not that great a quality. At least we thought it was high in those days compared to what we were used to pay. We had a pilot that was a member of the church that lived in Anchorage. His last name was Pettyjohn, and he would bring in ice cream and things like that. He'd put it right beside him, and bring it in special just for us. So we really enjoyed. They became very good friends of ours, the Pettyjohns.
It's interesting that this Pettyjohn, we just saw a thing about the church being built in Anchorage, and his name was mentioned as one of the members was Pettyjohn. And but anyway,
He had
he
a
was a
large
pilot.
family.
He was a
He was
pilot.
They let's go ahead and get a different video. I have two things I wanted to tell.